Welcome you all students to the undergraduate course in arts, that is for the degree of BA at Sri Venkatramana Swamy College, Bantwal. During admission, you are free to choose the combination either HEP or HEK, that is either History, Economics, Political Science or History, Economics, Optional Kannada. Economics is a compulsory paper that all of you have to study. I am Sakina Nasser from the Department of Economics, and I'll be handling this subject for you students. Most of you would have studied economics at your pre-university level, and you must be quite familiar with the subject economics. Even if you are new to the subject, there is absolutely nothing to worry, as you can easily cope up, all because economics is a subject that is very interesting and useful as well. This semester, that is during your first semester, you have to study a paper in economics called as microeconomics. But before we get into microeconomics, let's discuss a little on just the subject economics. What is economics? Economics studies how a man utilizes his limited resources for the satisfaction of his unlimited wants. Economics teaches us how to learn and spend the resources to satisfy human wants. In a very traditional sense, economics is concerned with economic activities. Any activity undertaken to earn resources in order to satisfy the wants is called an economic activity. In other words, economic activities are the efforts made to satisfy the wants. So, wants, efforts, and satisfaction constitute the subject matter of economics. In a very traditional way, economics is divided as consumption, production, exchange, distribution, public finance, and economic planning. Now, what is consumption? We all have heard of the word consumption. Consumption refers to the satisfaction of human wants by using goods and services. Consumption includes all aspects relating to consumer behavior, such as characteristics of human wants, utility, demand, various laws of consumption. The next area of study is production. Production refers to the creation of goods and services using the various factors of production. When I say creation, I mean production of goods and services by using the factors, namely land, labor, capital, and organization. And here too, we study the various laws of production and various cost concepts. The next area of study is exchange. Now, what is exchange? Exchange is simply the exchange of goods and services through a particular value for a good or a service. And here it includes all internal and external trade. The next area of study is distribution. By distribution, we don't mean it as distribution of goods and services. Usually we mistake distribution as distribution of goods and services. But distribution is simply the rewarding of the factors of production. We have 4 factors of production, and each factor need to be rewarded for the services rendered. Here we all know that land receives rent, labor gets wages, capital gets interest, and organization is rewarded with profit. And this concept distribution in economics, we also refer to it as factor pricing or resource pricing. The next is public finance. Public finance refers to financial activities of the government and various local bodies. Public finance studies how the government and other local bodies like municipalities and panchayats secure funds and how they spend these funds and allocate the funds. So public finance includes public revenue, public expenditure, public debt, fiscal policy, and the entire financial administration. And the last area is economic planning. Economic planning refers to coordination of economic activities, usually by a central authority. Here, in economic planning, a study is made about objectives of planning and the various types of planning that the government undertakes. So students, if you look into all this, it is very clear that economics is a very broad subject. And in all this, the focal point of economics is income. Whatever economic activities is undertaken, it is all done through what we call it is explained in terms of income. The output is always converted into income. The expenditure is done out of the income. So everything is done through what we call as income. But then the modern economists have simply classified economics into two categories, namely microeconomics and macroeconomics. It was Ragnar Frisch in 1920 who coined these two concepts, namely microeconomics and macroeconomics. Now, what is the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics? Microeconomics studies about the individual units in an economic system. It could be the study of an individual consumer, an individual producer, a firm, an industry, or a market. Whereas macroeconomics studies the overall economy. It deals with the aggregates. When I say aggregates, it tries to determine the national output, the national income, or what we call as the gross national product or the gross domestic product. It determines the rates of unemployment. It determines the price level. It tries to explain if an economy is going through a phase of inflation, deflation, or stagflation. So anything that impacts the economy as a whole is all studied under macroeconomics. But remember, micro and macro cannot be segregated to a larger extent. Microeconomics takes into account macro principles as well, and macroeconomics takes into account microeconomics as well. But this semester, you have to study a paper called as microeconomics. And in this paper, you are going to study the principles of microeconomics. Maybe in the next semester, you'll be studying macroeconomics. Soon, I'll send you a copy of the syllabus, which I request all of you to write down in a separate notebook. Please maintain a separate notebook for economics so that any assignments or notes could be written in that notebook itself. And maybe in the next class, we will begin with the first unit of microeconomics, that is the meaning, nature, and scope of microeconomics. So, for now, this is all you have to understand. We will meet you in the next class. Thank you.